Welcome, low ego action heroes and phoenixes. This is Debbie Levitt from dcx, and this is the Wednesday show, which I do every Wednesday, which is Ask Me Anything. This is your chance to get some mentoring, coaching, advice, whatever it might be, whatever you need, and there's no charge for it. So, it is the least expensive mentoring out there, at least from someone with decent experience. So welcome. We have no questions that came in ahead of time. If you do have questions, hi Ana Lucia, if you do have questions that you want to send now or ahead of time, up here in the corner you'll see dcx.to/q. You can send questions into the chat, but they'll pop up here with your name or fake name on them, which you can certainly do. But for longer questions or more anonymous questions, dcx.to/q. All right, definitely snacking, Ana Lucia. I just had my dinner over here. Finished up some veggies in the fridge. Had 2 cookies. Trying to be good. Need to lose some weight. So doing my best, but it's not easy. So you are welcome to ask me anything. All questions are welcome. I promise I won't try to answer ones I know nothing about, but I'll always be honest about what I can and can't tell you. What else can I tell you? So while we wait for some questions to come in, I just want to talk about some content that I'm working on. The weird bots on LinkedIn. Oh, that is a great topic for today. So for people, if you're joining live, thank you. If you're watching this on YouTube later, thank you. If you're watching it on LinkedIn later, thank you. I'm not saving these on Twitch, so they might be there later. Actually, I think they are on Twitch for 2 weeks. But hello, live and future people. So today is 16th of April, 2025, and I posted a new Medium article 2 days ago. So you can find that at R4D for researchbeforedesign.com. And I wrote about how you can tell when LinkedIn accounts are fake. Many of them might be bots or AI driven, but the ones I'm talking about in my article definitely have humans behind them, because in some cases I'm getting into fights with them, or I think they're definitely responding to me like a person would and not like a bot or AI would. Many of these make it really, really, really obvious when they are fake and scammy accounts. And of course, special thanks to Ana Lucia, who I edited the article, and I credited her with pointing out that there's yet another way that you can get a clue that these accounts are fake. And you might say, fake accounts, so what? Who cares? Well, nobody's making fake accounts on LinkedIn because it's fun or it's a new Olympic sport. These usually are the first point of contact for something that will end up some sort of scam. I was fighting with one person in private messages yesterday or the day before, and they were trying to tell me that they can help me because they're a resume writer. Their English was so I'm thinking that if they do work on resumes, they just feed them into AI. But whatever it is, it's not going to be worth that money. I'm not sure any resume writer is worth the money right now. Even people who claim endless success and charge $1,000. I would love to see somebody run an experiment with using different resume writers and see if they're getting any fewer or more interviews. Ana Lucia says, well, the spam is a bit too much, to be honest. That's annoying. So there's more than enough reason to be bothered by this. Yeah, I'm planning an article about how the value of spending time on LinkedIn just seems to keep getting lower and lower, between it trying to make us play games, not helping us with our jobs, trying to make it do whatever they think their metrics are. Everything is AI and bots and fake people and scams, and they just don't even seem to proactively block it when they could. They have the technology. It's Microsoft. So what is the value of spending time on LinkedIn or posting or commenting if you're going to end up in this sea of scams and crap? And I think that if LinkedIn cares about having a valuable future, then they would have to really take another look at their brand promise and their priorities and things like that. So If you feel like you are getting a lot of weird comments and private messages and things like that through LinkedIn, and maybe even some of them finding your email or phone number from your LinkedIn profile and contacting you or trying to get you into chats off of LinkedIn, please be very wary of these. Turn on all your critical thinking. Unfortunately, these are just too often scams. These people are not talking to you because they're lonely. They're not talking to you because they genuinely want to help you. They are gonna scam you, and it's only a question of how and when. So we just want to be super careful about that. Taking a quick peek at LinkedIn to make sure we're live there. Looks like we are. Hello to the 3 people watching live on LinkedIn. So at least that's working today. So yeah, this is usually Ask Me Anything. If you have something you want to ask about or talk about, you can put it in the chat. It'll come up on the screen, or of course you can put it at dcx.to/q, which will send it anonymously into my email, and I won't know who you are. I won't be yelling out your name. And as you can see up here, don't forget our conference. We have a conference coming up in just over a month, the Delta CX Hive Conference. It is designed to be affordable and all the things y'all have been telling me that you wish conferences were. I think we have 20 people signed up so far, so that is definitely fewer than I was expecting, especially given how much talk there's been on LinkedIn of, oh, UX conferences aren't what they should be, and we're not getting what we need, and we want this. And then I always go and make what people ask for, and they don't sign up. So it's always a little surreal. Ana Lucia says, I'm not sure where LinkedIn is going now. I thought it was a professional social network to help us in our careers. Right now, I don't even know. Just another social network that ignores users. Yeah, I mean, what was it, 2 days ago? Dr. Nick got a notification from LinkedIn saying that his mind could be sharper if he would play games on LinkedIn. No, for many reasons. And I think he received that notification during his workday. So, double no? Hey KB, hi all. For some reason I see that AI, specifically ChatGPT, likes to use the word whimsical all of the time. In my experience, that word is used very rarely in conversation or otherwise. Curious if anybody else has noticed other words that come up that frequently stick out. Yeah, there was a whole bunch of people who said, oh, if anybody uses an M dash, which is those wider dashes in their writing, well, then they're definitely AI. If you read my books, I use M dashes, and AI doesn't write my books. They don't edit my books. I use Grammarly, but Grammarly doesn't add M dashes. I do. So I think that we want to be careful. Someone else posted on my Medium article about the AI bots on LinkedIn that they thought the word kindly was just so old-fashioned, that, and something we didn't really say to each other anymore or write to each other anymore. Like, I wouldn't say, hey KB, kindly send me your resume. That's definitely something that English speakers used to say, but it seems kind of out of style and old-fashioned. So I think that person who posted that is correct, that kindly could be a bit of a hint that it's either someone using some old-fashioned English. I don't know if AI would do that, but it definitely feels like outdated or old-fashioned English to say, kindly connect with me on LinkedIn, or kindly send me your resume. What else did I want to tell everybody? I'm planning a whole bunch of Take Action Tuesday shows. We had one yesterday about good and bad research questions. Thanks to the people who joined live or watched later, so don't miss that. That was episode 264. Next week I'll be talking about, we'll be reading my article and opening up a discussion about democratizing UX from the perspective of, Was it a democracy before they told us to democratize? And after we democratized, is it a democracy? And I'd like to open up some tough conversations about that one. Amy says, I've seen that phrase. Kindly send me your resume, used by many recruiters out of India. Yes, it could also be a cultural thing. Ana Lucia says it's usually a message translated by Google Translator or something like that, and that's why kindly appears. Maybe it's a word they use in their native language. Yeah, like we have a running joke around the house that there's a common phrase used in kind of formal Italian letter writing, which is like, I hand you my cordial salutations. And even the word for like handing seems a little high and mighty to me, but that's kind of a running joke around the house. Whenever we think something's a little high and mighty, we will say it like, I le porgo I miei cordiali saluti. I don't know if you have something like that in Portuguese. Thank you, 72MC. Cordialmente. No, it goes beyond that. It's le porgo, le being like people who speak Spanish know usted, like it's the formal you, like I hand to you my cordial salutations, or cordial, we would say salutations in English, but it's saluti. Greetings. It's probably greetings is a better translation than salutations. So I hand you my cordial greetings. Thank you, 72, for the follow. Yeah, do you have a question? This is free mentoring, coaching, advising. If you have a question or a topic that's on your mind, throw it in the chat, or you can send it anonymously to dcx.to/Q. Don't forget to check out our upcoming conference that I designed to be everything you told me a conference isn't. You can find a link to it on dcx.com, see the whole agenda. Registration is open, so jump on in. It's designed to be affordable. I think it's under $200 for 3 full days. People were complaining that they couldn't afford Convey UX, and I looked at what they were charging for a remote conference for the remote ticket, and I think it was $600 for 2.5 days. So our event is under $200 for 3 days, and you can pick which days you want to go to, which can make it even less money. So next Take Action Tuesday live stream, we're going to talk about democratizing UX and how it's not a democracy. April 29, I'm going to talk about the CATE framework, which is a framework I use to judge practitioners' work when I'm asked to assess them or trying to help someone find their strengths and weaknesses and upskill. Then we don't have one scheduled for early May. We're thinking about some other ones for May. I've got some on my list. I want to do some shows to go with some of the articles I've written, like the bots, the LinkedIn bots one, so that we can talk about those again. I also want to talk at some point, I've got this over here. I picked it up at the Convey UX event. This is a bunch of like flashcards that are Microsoft's guidelines for human AI interaction. I want to read these on a live stream and I want to talk about them because Microsoft isn't even following their own guidelines. And I think it's a conversation worth opening. Hi, 72MC. Thanks for joining. I'm here every Wednesday answering any questions I can or chatting about what's on people's minds. Usually these are topics related to work, but sometimes they're related to changing careers or life stuff. Ana Lucia says that would be incredibly formal in Portuguese. It would be something like estendo-le cordialmente al mejor saludo. Yeah, exactly. So I don't pronounce Portuguese well, as you can tell, but I can tell it is close, except you're using that gerund for extending to you, which again, which is not the common Italian one. We have le, which is like you're le porgo. I use kind regards and best regards, but now I'm second guessing myself. No, that's fine. Those are fine ways to end a message, but you probably wouldn't say, I hand you my cordial greetings. So very formal, and we don't really, English has become so informal because we don't have like a formal you, like usted or lei or things like that. So I think we feel rather informally about each other. I think Amy, catch me on this, but like I think we learned when we're writing a formal letter, you sign it something like, "Thank you for your kind attention to this matter," or "Thank you for your prompt attention to this matter." And it's more about someone's attention to the matter than my cordial greetings to them. KB says, "I feel like LinkedIn is just a big sales funnel at this point. The AI bots have drowned out the last of the honest conversations." It does feel a bit like that to me as well. Every time I go to LinkedIn, which is way less often than it used to be, and I scroll through a handful of posts that come up, it's like, wow, I'm not finding anything of value here. It's just people complaining about AI or saying AI is the new baby Jesus and it's going to save everything from everything. It's posts written by AI, it's comments written by AI. It just feels like an incredible garbage soup with very little original thought. And then, of course, if you're not talking about a hot topic like AI, LinkedIn might not even show your post to anybody. You might die in the algorithm, and so. Like, why do I have 3 people watching me live on LinkedIn right now? I have 43,000 followers. You would think more than 3 people might be awake and might be interested. They've opted into following me on LinkedIn. They might want to tune in. Let's see, what number are we up to, LinkedIn? Knowing LinkedIn, it's gone down. Let's see. Oh, the lag's not too bad. Yeah, according to LinkedIn, I've got 2 people watching me on LinkedIn. So what can I say? You would think that there would be more than 2, but yet. Oops, people are commenting on my post about all the fake scammy things. Yes, someone is saying, "A recruiter asked for the last 4 digits of their social security number and their birthday." Yeah, I wouldn't give that away. Wow. Yeah, so many scams out there. Gosh. All right, let's see. What else is hello from Cagliari. One of the 2 on LinkedIn. Oh, who? It says LinkedIn user. Wait, now I've got to flip back to my window to see who that is. Who is it? We were just in Cagliari. Being a little tourists. Francesca Loy, hello. Thank you for joining. Do you have any questions? I'm here to answer any of your questions here for you in any language, though I do not know Campidanese, so you're going to have to stick with English or Italian if you would like your question answered. I do not know Campidanese. And let's not fight about what the true Sardinian language is. Ana Lucia says, "Thank you about yesterday's show and for your advice on trying to commit to smaller goals. My confidence is rising again." Excellent. Yeah, this may sound a little cheesy, but having now gone through coaching school and putting it into practice with practice sessions, which people can get at dcx.to if you would like to try me as kind of a life and personal coach. Yeah, Melanie says, "Hey Cagliari, we were just there. We dragged Melanie there. Buonasera." Yeah, sometimes just breaking things down into smaller bite-sized pieces helps, not only because it makes things more doable, but then you start to feel better about getting them done. And then it starts to give you a little bit more momentum. So I'm trying to bring some of the life coaching / personal development coaching stuff that I've been learning into some of my interactions here and in our Discord community, which is free. Why haven't you joined? dcx.to/Discord. We banned a spammer last night, so I take the community extremely seriously, and it's completely free. So there isn't a good reason to not join, other than some people tell me they truly hate Discord and you can't pay them to use Discord. And to them I say, you're missing out. I used to feel that way too, and then I started using it and I said, oh my gosh, I think I like this better than Slack, other than I wish it had voice message transcription. I think that's the main thing it's missing. If someone called me and said, what is it missing? I would say voice message transcription. So yeah, so if people have questions, I'd love to answer them. If there aren't questions for some reason, that's okay too. 72MC says, I bought your book Life After Tech last year. Thank you, 72MC. Hashtag not sponsored. Started reading it a few months ago and then was recently laid off. Oh, sorry to hear that. Hopefully you will like the book and get something out of it, and hopefully you've joined our Discord community, and I hope you'll leave an Amazon review if you want to. Also, I don't know if you've heard of Never Search Alone by Phil Terry. Trying to follow both books' methodologies is a challenge. Yes, I did hear about Never Search Alone. I didn't read it. I have heard, I'll just say, mixed reviews of the whole Never Search Alone thing. Someone tried to get me into it recently, and no matter what they said about it, I just didn't feel like it was going to be right for me. I didn't feel like it was what I needed. And so I think that if like there's always solutions for everybody's problems, and so I think that based on what I've heard about Never Search Alone, maybe that works for people who like small group kind of peer help or peer accountability. That's usually not my thing. I'm a little bit more of a loner, and I don't have a problem with accountability. Hey, a bot just posted my article. Cool. I'll see that in a minute. So yes. So yeah, and honestly, part of the reason that I wrote my book was that I didn't see the advice I was giving anywhere, and so I do expect that some or all of the advice in my Life After Tech book might be different from what you're hearing from someone else. Like many career books say, look at your skills, look at your strengths, and try to find the career that is some sort of close transition to the skills you already have. And my book takes the perspective of, sure, go read the other 50 books that say that. I have a different idea. I think that we are more likely to find new work areas, especially if we want to shift away from what we've been doing because we're unhappy with it, it doesn't pay well, we keep getting laid off, whatever. You have to take a different perspective. You don't have to do anything, but you would take a different perspective if you wanted something really fresh. And so my book takes the perspective of, let's look at who we are at our core. Let's look at our core personal qualities. Or for you, it might be your core values. And how can we match potential work areas to who you are at your core? And so, for example, that's how I come up with, what if I could be a karaoke DJ? Like, why not? But if I had only looked at possible income sources or new business ideas or work ideas from my current skill set, I might not have arrived on karaoke DJ. And I think even when I wrote the book, I hadn't arrived on karaoke DJ. I hadn't thought of that yet. So that's why a lot of the exercises in the book are living exercises. You can keep doing them and new things will come to you. Karaoke DJ came to me 2 or 3 months after I published the book, so it's news to you. And why not? For the cost of a little bit of equipment that I didn't have, because I had a lot of equipment, and some business cards that will also double as put in your song cards, I can now be a karaoke DJ. Why not? And if I could get just a few gigs a year, maybe it doesn't end up being a gig a week. I'd love it. That would be great. I'd find that very rewarding and fun. I'm doing it with my husband. Even if I got a few paying gigs a year, that's a few car payments. Why not? So yes, Never Search Alone is going to be a very different book and approach than mine. I know other people who are trying to look at both at the same time, but you're right, they might take you in different directions. So that's certainly a fair assessment. Amy's got a question, and I'm going to ask her for a little bit more information here. It says, do you have any advice on dealing with difficult stakeholders? Now, if you are coming to our conference, we have an entire day about that. Our entire first day is CX, UX, and dealing with difficult workplaces and stakeholders. So I would probably tell Amy to at least sign up for day one of the Delta CX Hive conference. If you go to dcx.to, both the homepage and the navigation have a link to the conference. I think we're charging 70 something a day. It's very inexpensive. But I would say, difficult in what way, so that we can help you more specifically. 72MC says, I agree with your analysis of my approach and Never Search Alone. Yeah, and again, it's not that either one is better or worse. They're just different paths in different directions, and neither might work for some people, and one might work for some people, and both might work for some people. And I just encourage people to try everything that works that you can afford. I can't remember if the Never Search Alone group, I think some people told me that was paid. I'm trying to do things for free, and I know people don't feel like they have a lot of money. So yes, you need to register for the conference, but let me know what you want to know about the stakeholders. And also 72MC day 3, actually day 2 and day 3 of our Delta CX Hive conference in late May, completely live and online, might be of interest to you. Day 2 is time and energy management, and day 3 is thinking about freelancing, contracting, starting your own business, new career directions, a whole day just about that. So everybody check out the conference. People are asking me for this content. We've put it together. We've got great speakers, people we, in some cases, know and respect. And where's the info for the conference? So just go to dcx.com. It's at the top of my screen, but I don't know if you're watching on a phone and it's very small. I'll put it in the chat. So if you go to Delta, and I see we have an anonymous question coming in, which is great. deltacx.com. Hold on, I couldn't see myself typing that. If you go to deltacx.com, on both the homepage and in the navigation, at the top of the homepage, you'll see the Delta CX Hive conference. It will tell you about all the days and who's speaking and what are they doing. We've got lots of interactive workshops. You can register for 1, 2, or 3 days. It's completely live and online. Amy says, I've been practicing answering questions for interviews, and a frequent question is, tell me about a time you dealt with a difficult stakeholder. That's a better version of that question. Let's put that up. Okay, so copy paste. So that's a great one. And my advice there is to always have a couple of stories ready to go. And wherever possible, you want to have stories that sound like things were resolved as well as possible. All I can think of is dealing with someone who dictated design solutions even after we did user testing and showed them a design that tested well. I considered that difficult. Yes, but how does the story end? Because typically they're hoping that you have a story where you dealt with a difficult person and it ended well. One of the stories that I might tell from my own work history, so this is a true story, is a few years ago I was hired to do generative and evaluative research on a project that the company had already been building for years. But they'd never put it in front of a user yet, and their original research was a focus group in 2018. So they weren't working from the best information, but they started building anyway. They were going straight to code. They were doing some UX design. They had a UX designer, but they were really mostly going to code. And now I was going to be the first person to put this in front of a human from the target audience. And long story short, I found that one of the key design decisions that had been made and they'd fallen in love with for years tested really badly. Some people liked it, but unfortunately not many. And it was not good news. And I had to tell people that their baby was ugly. I had to tell people that this layout that they were in love with for all these years was not the right way to go. And I had 50 stakeholders on this project, so I had people who were not handling the news well. And ultimately, in a heated group video call, someone said, I want to see what every single person in your research study said about this layout. Okay, so I had our student worker go through all 33 videos to find the point in time in which we asked them specifically about the layout, and to write down what people liked or didn't like about the layout, and to tally up how many people preferred it and how many people didn't. And I was able to then present a mini report on what all 33 people in my first study said specifically about that layout. And the stakeholders bought it. They said, okay, we believe you. We believe this is good data, and we're going to change the layout. So that's an example of when I had a tense situation with a lot of stakeholders that didn't want to believe my research data. And luckily, it could have gone either way. I could have brought them all this data and they could have said, nice story, but we still think this is the better way to go. So, to me, it's a story not only of the work that we did, but of having great stakeholders that were open to fresh information and open to doing the right thing for users. And we're not going to hold on, at least not too long, to outdated data or what they preferred, because in some cases it was what they preferred. How do I get rid of the ads? You kind of don't. Twitch runs ads unless you have a Twitch ad subscription, or unless you're a paid subscriber of my channel. So usually I pause when the ads come up, but I forgot to check today when the ads come up because I got caught in the middle of my own story. So I'm sorry about that. So 72MC, are you back? Because I want to apologize. Normally I pause during the ads so that you're not missing anything, and I forgot today. Let me see if I can see when the ads are. Refresh. And I know we have an anonymous question waiting, so I just want to get to that. Okay, the ad is over. Next ad in 38 minutes. Sorry I wasn't on top of that. Normally we pause. Okay, so let's go back. So Amy, I hope that helps. It's really good to try to think of a story where hopefully people ended up aligned on the same page. It was resolved. I think people want to hear that you can handle that situation and find a good resolution. Before that, I did tend to tell a story about when I warned people about something that was going to go wrong. They ignored me, and then it went wrong exactly the way I had predicted, and the story didn't end well. But and then I used that to try to show that, like, hey, I could kind of see these things coming, and I tried to talk about this risk to my team, and unfortunately they didn't believe me, and the team and the project suffered because of it. Yeah, good ending where possible, I would say. All right, let's take a look at the anonymous question. Thank you for your patience. Let me just paste it in a couple of places. Paste. And the ones that didn't end well stick out. Yeah, they sure do. I feel like I've got a lot of those. But unfortunately, my guess is people want to hear that it all ended nicely with people around a campfire singing Kumbaya. Okay. This question came in anonymously, and it says, how can someone avoid bringing the mindset of their specific profession into their personal life? For example, a therapist constantly analyzing friends, or a manager treating family interactions like team meetings. Okay, so I'm going to give an opinion on this that might be a little bit spicy, but you're asking, so I'm going to give you my opinion on it, and it's worth what you're paying for it, so you may or may not agree. I think that there are aspects of ourselves that show up both in our personal lives and at work. Yeah, Ana Lucia says, as a therapist, you don't, you simply stop bringing it up. Right. So for example, I'm a classically trained singer and I love to go out at karaoke. There is no way that I'm going to go up to people at karaoke and say, you could just sing better if you would just breathe like this and hold your body like this. So why am I not doing that? Because that's my personality says to me, that's just a boundary to not cross. It doesn't make any sense to give somebody voice lessons they weren't asking for. And so I'm not going to bring that aspect of my knowledge or experience or expertise or whatever you want to call it into other scenarios. There are times where I manage people at work, and I don't want to manage my husband. He is a grown man who can manage himself. And so I don't bring managing others into my home life. I don't have hangouts with friends that feel like team meetings. I hope I don't. I don't want that. Well, Melanie just spent 2 months with me. I guess she can give me some self-awareness if I do. But that I think that's more about somebody's personality rather than I'm bringing my profession's mindset home. Because if a therapist is constantly analyzing friends and the friends aren't asking for it, that is a personality issue. I'm now a life coach. I am definitely not going up to people and treating them like they're in a life coaching session with me unless they would like to be in a life coaching session with me, which you can do at dcx.to. First 2 are free. Ana Lucia says, I can't stop analyzing things. I'm the person who can be in the food court analyzing discreetly a family that caught my eye, but I don't say a thing. It's not my business. And I think that's the difference. We're always going to be judging others. We're always going to be analyzing others. I think that's just human. It's very hard to not do that. Someone is looking at me right now and making decisions about my hair, my age, my face, the cyst I have in my lip that makes my lips uneven. Someone's going to look and judge. They might not like my hoodie. We can't not judge. The question is, are you going to say that to other people? Are you going to treat them like, if a school teacher comes home and treats everyone like they're kindergartners, that's not going to be good. But that's within their control. These are things that people don't have to do. That's within their control, and it takes self-awareness to realize that other people don't want this, or maybe other people need to start speaking up and say, dad or wife or whoever, when you come home and you treat the family dinner like it's the business meeting and you're the manager, we don't want that. We want to have dinner with dad or wife. We don't want to have dinner with manager so-and-so. Or, hey, professional therapist, I'm not asking. I'm not asking for your advice or help. I would prefer if you don't analyze me when I'm not asking for it. If I want your help, I'll ask for it. And I think that's very fair. My previous boyfriend used to have a phrase when we would catch each other. He would say, unsolicited advice. So there would be times where I would have a bit of that, hey, why don't you? Like, hey, why don't you do this? Or, hey, would you do this? Or, you do this and it's a little weird. Why don't you try this? And he would be like, that's unsolicited advice. And I'd be like, yes, it is. And so sometimes, then we shifted into, would you like some unsolicited advice? And sometimes it was yes, and sometimes it was no. So I think, Ana Lucia says, unless people ask, don't say anything. That's something you must follow to have healthy relationships. Well, again, that goes both ways. Nobody asked somebody to hold the family dinner like a business meeting, and nobody asked to be analyzed. So, I think we should say something to these family members if we are feeling judged, put down, etc., etc. I think it's okay to say something, or you could start it like I did with my previous boyfriend did with me, which was, hey, that's unsolicited advice. Even in the life coaching school, we learned that coaching is not advising. So coaching is not giving people advice. Coaching is not, hey, you know what I think you should do? I think you should meditate 3 times a week. If a life coach says that to you, please fire them. So what we are trained to do is I can say to you, I have an idea. Is it okay if I share it with you? And you could say, yes, no. And I could say, hey, you don't have to do this. Take it or leave it or make it better. Just wondering. Have you considered a meditation practice? And someone might say, oh yeah, that sounds like something I should do or do more often. Or they could say, no, I don't really want to do that. For example, I don't like to meditate. So if someone said, hey, why don't you try a meditation practice? I'd say, hey, thanks, but no thanks. And a good life coach would then say, oh, okay, no worries, let's keep going. And so that's where I think that this is a personality thing. Amy says a narcissist personality wouldn't be able to turn that off. I remember when my dad, a psychologist, acted like the therapist when we went to family therapy. Yeah, you're on the couch, sir. Oops, dad. Or dad, you're why we're here. KB says it's tricky because people don't know what they don't know. Somebody I used to work with would say, can I offer you a perspective on some topic? And I like that approach. Yeah, that's a little bit more like what we're learning in life coaching, where if we think we have an idea, an intuition, a perspective, because we're not supposed to talk about ourselves or what we would do. It's all in service to the client. And so I would have to say, hey, I have an idea here. Would it be okay to share? And sometimes my clients say, I don't know if I'll like it. And I go, yeah, that's totally fine. You might hate it and we'll laugh at it and throw it out the window. But you have to be unattached to it. Ana Lucia says it can be even trickier with best friends. While we may be really comfortable with that person, some advice may not be wanted. Really depends on how you approach things. Yeah, but I feel like if that really is your best friend, you should be able to say that to that person. I remember going on vacation with a good friend, and I was so used to planning everybody's everything, which of course Melanie can tell you about. And I've often ended up with friends who are not planners, and they usually like me planning things because then they don't have to do it, and so it's a bit of a match. But I went on vacation with a friend, and I was trying to plan a few things, and she got mad at me. She said, why are you trying to plan all this? I can plan. And she was very independent, had traveled the world, and I was just falling into my old habits of planning stuff. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? Yes, you are one of the most independent people I know. You've traveled way more places than I have. What am I doing right now? And so I've tried to get into better habits, into asking people, would you like to plan this? Would you like to co-plan this? Am I planning this too early? Do you want to talk about this another time? Because I'm a very early planning person. Some of you know that in October, every other October, I buy tickets for a concert the following September, and I spend the whole year planning that trip to another country. So, but that's not going to work for everybody. So I've tried to get better at recognizing other people's needs and boundaries and ask more questions. And if someone says, hey, yeah, I don't want to think about it, then the next question is, well, do you not want to think about it because you don't want to do it, which is also okay, or because you'd rather I plan it, or something else? And, just try to accommodate other people's styles. But the bottom line is, if people are not asking for that treatment or advice, I still have this giant mosquito bite. If people aren't asking for that advice, that is unsolicited advice, and you don't have to take it, and you might want to say something, especially if it's a best friend. If it's a best friend, you should be able to say, hey, I love you, but I don't want that advice right now, or that's not helping. And really a best friend should then say, okay, crap, sorry, I overstepped. What do you need right now? That's what I want to give you. I want to give you whatever you need. According to me. Ana Lucia says, I think some subjects may be a bit slippery. For example, if your best friend is dating a jerk, how do you even say that without triggering the other person? They'd get shocked and some people would even go away. I have definitely bumped into that. One of my best friends was married to a guy who I had met a handful of times, and every time I met him, we just didn't click. I just didn't like him. I didn't enjoy talking to him. I didn't enjoy being around him. But I couldn't put my finger on it. There was just something about it. Oops, sorry, I'm falling out of my chair, which Melanie has also seen. There was just something about him I really couldn't stand. And I what's the opposite of looked forward to seeing him? I hated the idea of seeing him, but sometimes he was just attached to her. And they broke up in 2019, and I was happy in that sense. I wasn't happy with how it happened. That was really ugly, and I'll never forgive him. But I finally said to her, like, I haven't wanted to say this all these years because you seemed to like your husband, but I got to tell you, I never liked him. And she's like, that's so funny. He didn't like you. And I was like, this is perfect. We should have said something. She said, he was always jealous of you and complaining about you. And I was like, I'm not jealous of him, but I've always been secretly complaining about him. I think it's just one of those tough areas where I think I didn't think she was being abused, so I didn't say anything. And in the end, I don't think he was cheating, but outside of that, he wasn't abusive, which is still abusive. But I'm just saying, I didn't know. But when I've seen people in relationships that seem abusive, I am the person who says something. Which is tough conversations. But I've also told my friends, if you see me dating a jerk, if you see me acting like a doormat, if you see me doing the bullshit, won't you please say something? If I can't catch myself doing it, that's where I need you. That's why I have best friends. And so I think that if these people are as good friends as you think, you should be able to say these tough things to them. Wow, we ended up all over the place today. This is a great question. Thank you for sending in the question, anonymous person. It's fun to talk about things that aren't just CX and UX and work, and just to talk about people and relationships and interactions and our day-to-day realities. So thank you for that. This is Wednesday Ask Me Anything. I do this just about every Wednesday. I'm not traveling again until June, so I'll be here all through May. We'll probably miss the day of the conference because the conference, of course, will cancel all other normal streams. But I really hope people will check out the conference and sign up. If for some reason the cost of it is an issue, just get in touch with me privately. You don't have to tell me a story. Just ask me for a discount. Tell me what you think you can pay for it, and I will make sure you get a coupon code because I don't want the cost. I think the cost is fair, but I recognize the cost may not work for everybody. So please get in touch. And again, you don't have to tell me personal things or a story. Just tell me what you can pay for the conference and we'll make it happen. What else? Also, while we're here, are there any topics people are hoping a Take Action Tuesday will cover? Because I'm going to start scheduling Take Action Tuesdays for May and June and into the summer as well. So, yeah. Oh, something cooking in the Discord. The Discord is so active, and I'm really happy with that. So, hooray! We have unfortunately our Slack community has been nearly dead, but our Discord community is growing. We have almost 500 people. Melanie, I've been stuck on Joe Jackson since watching karaoke. Yes. Yes, that was a super adventure. Melanie's an excellent singer, and that was a lot of fun. I hope to get back to Saturday night karaoke streams. So I hope if you have a song you want to hear, let me know. I'll be live usually on LinkedIn and Twitch. I can't go live on YouTube because they would copyright strike me. So please make sure you're following Delta CX Hive on Twitch. It's worth it. I know some people are like, Discord, Twitch. I don't hang out in these places. They're decent platforms. Check them out. Oh, crackly neck. KB says, if you can't rely on your best friends to tell you the truth, then who can you rely on? If they are a good friend and know you well, they should be able to bring it up in a kind way. Sometimes it will feel like a sacrifice of the friendship, but they'll come back when they realize you had good intentions. Be the best friend you wish you had. Yeah, that's something that I've always tried to lay out with my friends, even just friends, not even my best friends or inner circle. Like even any of you, if any of you catch me doing something that is inconsistent or doesn't match who you think I am or doesn't play into my values. Like, for example, when my editors were working on Life After Tech, there was a story in here that we took out because I was telling a story about something I observed while living here in Italy and how I thought it was a better way to live. But some of our editors grew up in Italy and they said, actually, the thing that you're thinking is better, we think is not necessarily better. And many of us struggle with that. So you're an outsider looking at this and seeing something positive, but we see some of that struggle. And I was like, oh no, I've done it. I've done it. I was accidentally that person. I had an outsider's view and I thought that I was on to something that everyone should consider doing or being. And I had a personal perspective, and my perspective is my own truth, but I hadn't stopped to consider other people's truths. And when the editors brought that to my attention, I kicked it around a little bit, and then I just cut the story because I realized there was no fixing this story. The story was unfortunately probably going to come up. Yeah. And I think Melanie worked on editing the book, so she might remember living through that discussion. Melanie says, took me a while to warm up to karaoke. I think this is karaoke. But once I got over the embarrassment, it was fun. Shitty flute for the win. Oh my God. Yes, that was so funny. In the vocal booth where we do the karaoke, we keep my husband's flauto dolce, his recorder from elementary school, and we call it the shitty flute. And so even Melanie got in on the shitty flute. Too good. But Melanie will just have to come back for the encore. But yeah, be the best friend you wish you had. And yeah, I'm always grateful to my editors for saying like, hey, this is a shitty story. Or, hey, you know what? This story is a little bit of like white privilege-y, or this story is a little bit of outsider looking at another culture. And I want to go, yes, I need to hear that because I don't always get it right. And there's a person I want to be. And sometimes I am not that person, usually by accident, but I still want that called out to me so that I can hear it and see it and understand it and act on it and then hopefully do better next time. So yeah, so I'm very lucky that the people in my community and my book editors are comfortable saying, this sucks. You know, there's things that some of you will never see because you didn't see the first version of Life After Tech that my editors made so much better. So endless thanks to the editors. Yeah, so we should wind up. We've got just a few more minutes today. I usually do this from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Italy time where I live. It is coming up on 8 p.m., so I'm going to wind it down. If you do send in an anonymous question at dcx.to/q during the week, I will keep it. It will not be thrown away. I will keep it. I will put it on a list, and when I do next week's show, you will be among the first questions we address. Thank you, 72MC. Thanks for joining us. I don't know if we know you, but you're welcome to be 72MC. And yeah, other than that, I will set up the show ending song, and we will be back on Tuesday, hopefully Saturday for karaoke, but definitely back on Tuesday to talk about a bit of a weird perspective I have on the whole democratizing UX thing. So here we go. Buckle up for that. Gonna be spicy. All right, so I will flame us out of here. Everybody have a great rest of your week. If you are celebrating a religious holiday this week, have a super religious holiday. If you are not celebrating a religious holiday this week, also have an excellent week and eat extra chocolate. Thanks, everybody. Bye.